Welcome back to Unapologetically Unfiltered. My name is Georgia.
I'm Jess.
And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about Jess and Sam's marriage.
And subsequent divorce. Let's do it.
So, Jess, I feel like your relationship with Sam, it was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster, and I think for people watching on, I think a lot of women will be able to relate to your relationship with Sam, with your marriage, because I feel like at a lot of times you were so quiet. Tell me, like, what was going on in your head?
Looking back, I'm quite embarrassed that I was really quiet, and I wish I'd spoken up a lot more. It's probably one of the biggest regrets that I have from this experience. But I know that I'm deeply introspective. I'm a deep thinker and I'm very analytical. And in fact, going into the show, I was told many times by the psychologist that I just needed to kind of live in the moment and go with it. But there's just so much swirling around in your head. Like, my head was a washing machine for most of it because I felt that I was trying to work out what was going on all the time. Mm-hmm. There's obviously behavior from your partner that you can see when you're filming, but then off camera, there's other really minor behaviors that you're absorbing at the same time. Plus, then you're thrust into situations like Couples Cove where more people are around you, there's more opinions, and there are a lot of very strong opinions coming my way.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was always trying to interpret what was going on to start with, Sam's behavior, secondly, and, you know, his feelings towards me. You're trying to work out what your intuition is telling you and if you're overthinking things because you're in a certain situation, and that's why I was quiet, because I was just trying to work it all out. Maths was not mathing. Usually I run the data quite quickly when I date, but it's a very unique circumstance where you just thrust into the situation and you're trying to make the best of it and you expect the best. I just gave Sam the benefit of the doubt. So,
which a lot of women we do in relationships. You know, we're in a relationship and we think, oh, well, it's okay, it'll be better next time.
Yeah. And I kind of saw the experiences like, well, all of us have signed up for this intentionally to meet a partner. Sam's saying that to me too. So you just expect that you're doing the same thing.
I think we also expect that they are there for the right intentions because we were there.
Exactly.
For the right intention.
And you want to, you want to be optimistic and hopeful about it. And I was very hopeful the whole time. Mm-hmm. But on reality TV, there is always an element of asking yourself, is this person here for the right reasons? Are they here for TV, or are they here because they want a relationship, and do they actually like me? So there's always that going through your head too.
When you were so quiet, how are you feeling?
It's kind of pretty normal for me to be quiet, especially when I'm alone, because I just am thinking. But I was just trying to work out the play, really. And if it was a play, I was trying to align Sam's words with his behavior, and I was trying to make sense of situations, and things weren't adding up from quite early on.
How did Sam make you feel throughout this whole experience? I know that this is hard to talk about.
Yeah, definitely, because you hope for the best, but Sam made me feel so many different things at different times, but because our relationship started well, you know, on a positive note, and we were quite happy. So we had kind of 3 days of I think quite liking each other.
Yeah.
And then very soon after that he pulled back. So I was very confused about whether he still liked me and was attracted to me.
Yeah.
And then when I realized that the dots were not joining up,
Yeah.
and he didn't seem interested in me, he wasn't curious about me, he wasn't the same with me on and off camera, I just felt like I felt like a piece of shit.
Did you feel like rejected?
I felt rejected.
Yeah.
I felt rejected, but he was saying he was not rejecting me. He was saying he had feelings, but he was not showing me. And I know, I mean, I was single for 5 years before the show, so I didn't have a lot to match this up to. But I know that when a man likes you, he's curious about you. He wants to touch you. He tries to kiss you.
Yes. He wants to know everything about you.
He gives you compliments.
Yes.
But I felt like I don't think I'm a boring person. I think I'm interesting. I've lived in another country. I speak another language, albeit not well. I'm a dating and relationship coach. I've traveled a lot. I've done a lot of wild shit in my life, but Sam didn't want to know anything about me. I felt boring as batshit. I felt ugly. You actually do think you're ugly when you're on the island because you don't have a mirror.
Well, you haven't got a mirror and, you haven't got any of your comfort. So,
So I felt boring. I felt flat. I didn't feel like he valued me. I was incredibly confused because he was saying one thing and doing another. You don't feel attractive, you don't feel sexy. That's what I was seeing from Sam. You start to believe it.
And I think when a man gives you confusion, your head just spins and you just keep running around in circles, so then you can't actually focus on the facts.
Yeah, and I think this is what was happening and why I was so quiet, because probably internally I was thinking and feeling like this is not right. This is not right. But then when I got up into the conversations with Sam and I was approaching them like quite openly, and I was being very giving and very compassionate and very understanding and very analytical and was seeing things from another point of view, that's where I got lost, and he would convince me that things were okay. But I think in my body and in my brain in those moments, I was like, things are not adding up. This is not right. This is not how I should be being treated.
No, and knowing you now, and I've spent quite a bit of time with you now, and looking back and seeing you in those couples coves, like you were not happy. It was like you were like squashed.
Yeah.
Squashed down, like knowing you like I know you now, and you're such a vibrant person and full of life and, happy and passionate and unique, and I didn't see any of that on the island.
Yeah, and I kept putting it down to being like in these group situations with lots of big personalities, which is a fact. That's not really my playing field.
Yeah.
However, that's probably a lie. I was quite squashed by Sam, and I saw a little bit of behavior from him up front. I wasn't scared, but I always just felt like I had to keep the peace with Sam, and I was just trying not to have a fucking argument with him every day because I wanted to have a good time and get on with the relationship. But every single day I felt like, if I do this wrong or do this wrong, then we're going to have a fight, and that's that day ruined, and we're running out of time, and I want to make this work.
So did you feel like you were walking on eggshells with Sam?
Yes, I did. And there were a couple of times when he absolutely erupted at me for things that I didn't even realize were happening at the time. Like usually when you're in a relationship, you know what's going to tip your partner over the edge.
Yep.
And he would come to me the next day and say these things, and I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're upset because I named our island something stupid, Alfresco Paradiso it was, without consulting you. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Do you think he created this whole situation with you, like, the behavior of generally, like when someone does this kind of behavior to you, and like it makes you, when you're walking on eggshells with someone, and I have been in relationships before where it is like that, and it makes you literally get to the point where you can't say anything because anything you say
is wrong.
There is wrong. You could literally be saying, "Oh, you're an amazing person," and it's wrong. It's walking on eggshells with someone. It's such an awful relationship to be in.
Yeah.
It is. You feel like you can't be yourself. But I also think maybe it was a bit of deflection as well from the situation.
Yes, because Sam, I don't know the truth still. I don't know if Sam was not interested in me. I don't know if he wasn't there because he wanted a relationship. I don't know if he got there and it was just all too much for him suddenly. But I said to Sam quite a few times, if you don't want to do this, it's okay. Just tell me. If you don't feel like that about me or whatever, just let me know. And he couldn't say it. He couldn't say, I'm not interested in you. He'd say, I have feelings for you, but they're not this or they're not that. And he would say, he'd kind of give me a big speech about, oh, I just don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, but it's not Friendship Island. It's stranded on Honeymoon Island. We were there to find love. And I think the least he could have done with you is been honest with you.
Yeah, we had this is one of our biggest fights. And I said to him, this is me still calling out these fucking inconsistencies. I said, this says one of two things to me. It says you are not interested in me.
Yep.
In a genuine way. Or I think I framed it as you're not ready for a relationship, / you're not here for a relationship. And he couldn't give me the answer to that.
It's creating confusion again.
Exactly. He just said, I think he actually started crying and he said, I don't want to hurt you. And I was like, the fuck? You're obviously
crying,
hurting me.
Another deflection.
Yeah, you're obviously hurting me, but I'm asking you to give me the truth. And then I asked him to go away and think about it and come back to me and tell me what he wanted. I gave him the opportunity to leave.
But really, he didn't want to leave, did he?
No. Because he actually said to me, he's like, will you be devastated if this doesn't work out in the end? And I was like, I'll fucking get round it. Of course I'd be hurt, but I'd rather know than be misled.
Absolutely.
I think that if I had not called these, I know I was quiet. I know I probably didn't do myself justice and I didn't stand up for myself enough. But I think if I could have been a lot quieter, I could have been more of a doormat, and Sam would have just run this narrative the whole way through. He had feelings for me, la 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 la, and then at the end, he would have said no anyway.
He just would have walked all over you.
I think he was always going to say no, but the fact that I was able to pick up these bits and pieces along the way, sure, I didn't do it. I wasn't strong enough in the way that I went to him, but I think that he would have just completely gotten away with it otherwise.
Were there a lot of signs with Sam on the island?
There were, but perhaps the things that we see in the end result in the show airing are not the things that were the signs to me. The signs to me from Sam were little things, and which is why it's really hard to explain that when you're doing your voxies, and really hard to explain that in an argument with someone that you've just met. But the little things become the big things. It was not like these huge red flags, although I should have seen those too. It was things like when I walked into a room or an area of space, there was no rooms, Sam wouldn't look at me. I would go and try to sit near him for comfort, or sit in between his legs or hug him, and he would push me away.
All things that, a partner, they're things that he shouldn't be doing. A partner should be pulling you in closer, and
exactly
the first person, when you walk into a room, your partner's eyes. I feel like they want to see you straight away.
Sam was more interested in having conversations with the crew. He was more excited to see the crew in the morning than me, sorry.
I can kind of relate to that with Chad because Chad
Wild.
loved the crew. Yeah.
So there was a lot of that. Producers had to ask him to hold my hand, like underwater, those sorts of things. When I fainted, he was the fourth person to come over to me, and he was angry. I remember at the last.
What, he was angry that you fainted?
He just looked at me, and I just saw anger in his eyes, just anger. That was it.
Wild.
And then the last couple's cove, I mean, this is probably when I was coming around to the realization that he was a walking red flag. But the last couple's cove, we were there first and we got to choose our rations.
The olives and the macaroons.
So we had these like big, beautiful baskets of food, and we were there first. So Sam and I had this like, big conversation about which one we should get because, what do we want most on the island? 3 weeks had gone by. I'm fucking obsessed with olives. I'd spoken about olives this whole time. And there was a basket with like, the difference was olives and macaroons. And he's like, oh, let's get the one with the macaroons. And I was like, I don't give a fuck about a macaroon. What kind of fucking, it's a waste of pastry. Desperate for olives. Let's get that. And this is like when I was starting to say to Sam, no, I want this. I want this. So I'd said to him, I want this thing. And he's like, nah, let's get the macaroons. And I was like, you fucking turd. I've been with you for 3 weeks as your wife. I really want these olives. Just give it to her.
Happy wife, happy life. Like,
but he just didn't care.
Give the woman the olives. Like, she wants the olives.
We walked away and he's like, oh, you're offered, aren't you? And I was like, fucking facts.
Yeah.
It's not just the olives. It's that you wouldn't do that for me.
Yeah, it's not the fact of, purely about the olives, but it's actually the fact of when you are in a relationship and putting your partner's needs before your own.
Yeah. If there are any men out there that would let me have the olives over the macaroons, please,
Speak up now. So, leaving the island, your last kind of interaction with Sam at that last, like, let's say reunion dinner.
Not an interaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I say interaction, kind of being in the same setting as him, not actually physically talking. So we're kind of going from that. Tell us what happened after you left the island.
Well, yeah, I mean, just back to the finale. It is really jarring when you've been on an island with someone for 3 weeks and he was nice to me in his final vows, but then for him not to come and say anything to me. He could apologise to Amy after calling her a cunt on TV, but he couldn't speak to me. So it was really jarring. I was devastated leaving. I was so heartbroken, and I travelled back with Sam.
Was that awkward?
It was hard because I was actually very emotional. I was crying as we were leaving. Mike comforted me.
We were actually on different flights. So I was on a flight with Chad and Hayden and Jess was on the flight with everybody else. So I obviously didn't see any of these interactions.
Mike actually comforted me. Sam kind of sat by himself in a corner listening to music. And then when we got to the airport, we kind of were in the line to get our boarding passes together, and he kind of gave me a hug and he was like, oh, you're my emotional support water bottle. And then he was like, I love you. And I was like,
what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That comment I find like quite strange.
And then he was quite nice to me at the airport.
Was he having a moment?
He must have been having a moment. He was quite nice to me at the airport. We flew back together and we were talking. He was sitting in front of me. We were kind of friendly. There was still confusion. So I said, let's talk about it the next couple of days and we can just chat it through. And he wasn't ready to do that. And so I went away for quite a while just to kind of go through the healing process because you're pretty cut, You've been on TV to get married.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did you feel obviously coming back and I
was just so upset. You just think I wanted to fly home with someone. I wanted to fly home holding somebody's hand and then potentially have to introduce them to my family and my friends. And I thought the only discussion I'd be having was like, which state am I going to be living in? It just wasn't like that. And, having to tell mum, no, I'm not flying home with the husband. You just feel like a bit of a fucking failure, to be honest. And so I went away to kind of process that. And it is difficult because you just kind of like, you're just blaming yourself and you're just like, oh, why? And like, why didn't I do it differently? And why didn't he like me? Like, I feel like I gave Sam 120% even when he was not. Even when there were other guys on the island that I probably, I picked in speed dating, and I didn't even look twice, even though Sam wasn't being stellar husband. I still stood by Sam. So you're just like, what the fuck did I do wrong?
I'm sure every woman in a relationship that it hasn't worked out, we all sit there and we all think like, what could we have done? I think it is a female thing to kind of think, to want to fix things, to want to, and to also kind of take the blame, even though, that wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
None of that was your fault, but we can feel like failures, like we failed a situation.
I was certainly questioning my value, and I was just like, how did this happen? Because going into the show, I was very happy with who I was. I was very happy in my own skin. And, the producers see that when they cast you, that she's got character, she's got a personality, she's XYZ, la la la. They don't cast beige people. Yeah. And so I was just like, I didn't know who I was. And I think a lot of that was to do with the fact that Sam made me feel, I don't know. Small.
And it just goes to show in a relationship, if you're not with the right partner, they can make you feel very small, and they don't bring out all your best qualities. They can almost diminish them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's certainly embarrassing for me, given, that's what I do for work. So I try to educate women and men about how to protect themselves against that and be in relationships that are good for them and nourish them and make them feel valued and loved. And that was exactly the opposite of what I did. And so I felt like I'd failed not only, at the relationship, at the show, but I also feel like I'd failed myself.
I think you're too nice. I think you are so too nice. I would have cut him off with big garden scissors, I think.
In my fucking head, I was like, well, we went through this experience together. Like, it's so unique and la la la. Don't worry, I've changed my tune now. But
she spent a bit longer with me now.
Exactly.
So
I learned from the best,
I'm
honestly.
like, girl, no. He doesn't deserve your energy and your time.
But I started to notice even in the group chat that I would respond to something Sam said and he would ignore me.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. He didn't even look at me when I was in the same area as him when we were filming, and I was his wife. So
where do you and Sam stand now? Like, there's obviously been quite a bit of time since filming. Do you have do you speak? Do you have a friendship?
Absolutely not. Nothing. I had a conversation with him because in my head I was like, oh, we'll be friends. We need to work together. We've had this experience, and Sam talked a lot of shit about valuing me and la la la. So I went to him and I said, I'd like to be friends with you, but you need to know that you did hurt me and you did lead me on. And his response to that was not even to stop and think about it. It wasn't, I think he said, I'm sorry you feel that way. He didn't take any ownership. He deflected, no accountability. Yeah. Then he said, do you need closure from me? And in that moment I was like, that's it. That's my closure. I need nothing from you. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. I'm done here. You can't listen. You're never going to take accountability. You're not sorry. You can't see it from my point of view.
And he's never going to be able to see it.
And
Like,
might I add
yeah.
that he still said, I did like you, Jess. I still like you. So
The math ain't mathing.
He's still confusing me.
Yeah.
He's still winding me up.
Yeah.
Yet he can't see this as misleading.
Yeah.
So I walked away from that and I was just like, nah, we're done. I haven't spoken to him. Not one fucking letter of a text or nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I feel you, girl. I feel you.
And I've never really cut someone out like that, but it's good because then you don't have to worry about them and you make space for new people.
I think you make space for people who are like-minded and who share the same values and the same respect.
Yeah, and I don't need to have someone in my life that makes me question myself.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you'd like to say, Jess, today to wrap up our little episode?
Oh, Sam, I hope you're okay, sweetie.
Now, thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode, and please subscribe and like to our YouTube channel.
And the podcast.
And the podcast.
And our Instagram.
And our Instagram too.
We'll be back with more details about behind the scenes from So High.
Yes, we will.
Talk about all things beauty, where we
Oh,
where we went to the
yes.
toilet.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.